The Hyksos were a race of West Asian peoples and a very important influence on Egyptian history. The name Hyksos translates to rulers of foreign lands, given by the Greeks. The name suggests that they were kings, used by the Egyptian historian Matthew, which also translated as king shepherds. The Hyksos were most likely from the area of what is now known as Syria and Palestine. The Hyksos migrated from Western Asia and settled in the eastern Nile Delta, resulting in the end of the 13th dynasty, which was a continuation of the 12th dynasty, lasting approximately from 1803 BC until 1649 BC, 154 years, and initiated the second intermediate period, which marks the beginning of the fall of Egypt for the second time between the ending of the Middle Kingdom and the beginning of the New Kingdom. The Hyksos invaded and conquered both dynasties. They established secure and powerful empires throughout Egypt, lasting over 1,000 years. The Hyksos ruled almost all of Lower Egypt as well as the Nile Valley during the 15th dynasty. The Hyksos invasion of Egypt left a lasting impact on Egypt and its everyday lifestyle, as they introduced the Egyptians to many different trade methods, making their economy more diverse, as well as welcoming new military techniques. The Hyksos made a great influence on the trade economy of the Egyptians, although all the positive impacts of the invasion also comes many negative, such as war, bringing violence to the Egyptians.
Before the Hyksos invasion, the Egyptians were a very isolated society as they were surrounded by deserts and countryland, thus not preparing them for any attacks that could occur. They also had a weaker military force, making them vulnerable and susceptible to attacks. The Hyksos brought metals, weapons, horse-drawn chariots, and much more knowledge along with them in the invasion. The trading of bronze and copper to make weapons and tools was a large development of the Egyptian city. The Hyksos were builders, artisans, creating many important technological improvements, such as the shaduf, bringing revolutionized techniques used by Egyptians for farming. The shaduf was a wooden tool made of a pole with a wooden bucket at one end and a weight at the other. The shaduf helped Egyptians to raise water above the Nile River, water level, and divide it into canals, eventually helping to produce 2 crops a year instead of 1. Another amazing technological improvement the Hyksos brought into Egypt were keels, which were flat blade-like objects created to make more stable boats, helping the Egyptians to increase their trade network, as the ships could carry more stack. Therefore, because of the Hyksos invasion, the Egyptians' lifestyle became more conventional and well established.
The Hyksos invasion changed the history of Egypt in many different ways. With the invasion, many advanced and beneficial resources and techniques had emerged into Egyptian society and culture, such as enforced military forces, weaponry, advanced agriculture, transportation methods, trade methods. All of these contributed to better and advanced Egypt. The methods that the Hyksos left behind helped to increase the developments of trade, economic expansion, and the growth of the cities. Until the invasion of the Hyksos, Egypt was mostly isolated, but after they became more intertwined with other civilizations. The impact of the Hyksos had a positive influence in Egypt many ways, from weapons, food, religion and culture, tools, travel, and communication.
Avaris was the capital of ancient Egypt in the 15th, 19th, and 20th dynasties. In the Middle Kingdom, Egypt experienced a huge increase of Palestine peoples, and Avaris became the Hyksos capital. Ramses II decided to secure his capital by building military facilities, temples, residences, storehouses, and docks, using the full potential of the site. The city was divided into 4 parts, each dedicated to the gods Ammon, Wadjet, Seth, and Astarte. The city was administrated capital with many government bureaucracies located there. The location of Avaris made the agriculture rich and provided more food for the population as the city. Being on the Babasite branch of the Nile River, providing many resources, the city began to decide when the loss of the Asiatic territory as well as the transfer of the residents to Tanis in the 21st dynasty was the final blow.
The Hyksos invasion is an event in history that has much historical significance as it resulted in change. This event shed light on the issues within and around Egypt, such as their isolation from other civilizations, bad trade network, their low production of goods, such as weapons and foods, as well as shedding light on their overall contemporary life. The invasion of the Hyksos was driven by multiple causes, such as opportunity and needed resources, but also had many consequences, creating even more short-term and long-term causes and consequences. When the Hyksos invaded, they brought with it many advanced methods of war in which the Egyptians analyzed and then used against the Hyksos in effort to reclaim their land, which they won back, kicking the Hyksos out of power and starting the new Egyptian empire.
Historical perspectives can change and differ from one individual to the next. People in the past have diverse perspectives on the events in which they are involved. An example of this would be the Hyksos invasion. The Hyksos invaded Egypt as they saw the Egyptians vulnerable and their much needed resources, so they took their opportunity in order to help their own people. Whereas the Egyptians' view on the invasion would be the Hyksos starting war against them. The Hyksos were a people of advanced methods and technology who invaded ancient Egypt in an effort to better themselves. They ruled Egypt for 108 years until their fall, when Egypt regained their power, with the Hyksos leaving behind infinite knowledge of wide variety to the Egyptians, helping the new Egyptian empire to grow and evolve.